Please like, follow, and comment what country I should do next. With your help, I'll be able to get better voice over audio in the future. Thank you and enjoy the story.
I got off work at 6 p.m., same as always. My office in Shinjuku was on the 12th floor of a beige, forgettable building filled with forgettable companies. I did marketing. Not the cool kind. Spreadsheets, internal reports, click-through rates. Just enough to pay for my 1DK in Sujinami and a few beers on the weekend. Most days I didn't think too hard about what I was doing with my life. I wasn't miserable. Just neutral. Invisible, like half the people in Tokyo. Rush hour hit like a wave the moment I stepped outside. Tokyo's arteries were swelling. Umbrellas clashed like swords as commuters jostled politely down the sidewalks. The smell was that usual urban mix: wet concrete from earlier rain, tobacco from impatient smokers, and fried croquettes from the convenience store across the street. It was April. Still cold enough for coats, but humid enough to sweat. Shinjuku Station was a beast. Inside, it was shoulder-to-shoulder chaos. Organized, disciplined chaos. Nobody pushed. Nobody yelled. We all knew the rhythm. Suits lined up in quiet rows, eyes down, phones out, pretending not to notice how claustrophobic it was. The station groaned with age and traffic. Escalators rattled. PA systems crackled with train updates. A distant saxophonist played something mournful near the JR East gate. It was all strangely comforting. I was headed for the Chua line. Home was just 7 stops away. I figured I'd pick up dinner at the konbini near Koenji Station. Maybe beer, maybe carriage. That was the plan. Then I saw the man. He was sitting against a pillar, hunched, swaying. Pale. Sweat pouring down his face like rain. A station worker was kneeling beside him, asking questions I couldn't hear. The man jerked forward. Fast. Bit the worker on the neck. The crowd didn't notice at first. The trains were still coming. People still lining up. That was the thing. Tokyo keeps moving. Trains don't stop unless they have to. But then the screaming started. People pushed back from the platform as panic spread. I caught a glimpse of the man again, his eyes glassy, mouth bloody. He lunged at another person and bit into their arm. That was enough. People started running. I did too. The station turned to chaos in seconds. A wave of bodies crashing against each other in the scramble for the exits. I barely remember how I made it out. All I know is that by the time I hit the streets above ground, I was soaked in sweat, heart pounding, and my phone, completely useless. Signal? Full bars. Data? Dead. Apps frozen. No updates, no alerts, no explanations. Just the rising noise of sirens and the far-off pop of something that sounded a lot like gunfire. I didn't know where to go. Home felt too far, too uncertain. But standing still felt worse. I started walking, fast, west toward Nakano, figuring I could stay off the main streets. That's when I saw my first body. A man in a suit, lying crumpled in the gutter outside a family mart. No movement. Blood pooled beneath his head. People just stepped around him. A woman gasped, covered her mouth, but kept walking. No one checked. No one wanted to. Something had broken in the city's rhythm. A crack in the routine that let fear pour through. I ducked into alleys, winding through back streets I only half knew. Tokyo at night is a maze even when things are normal. Now, it felt like a trap. Every shadow could be one of them. Every sound made my pulse spike. Somewhere near a shuttered ramen stand, I heard glass shatter and someone yelling. I didn't look. I didn't want to see. Eventually I made it to a small park I remembered from a date I had once, years ago. I sat on a bench and caught my breath. The sakura trees were still blooming overhead, white petals drifting slowly to the ground, peaceful, even now. That contrast broke something in me. I cried for the first time. The second time I almost died was maybe 20 minutes later. I was walking through the park again, near a vending machine, when someone lunged at me from behind it. They were fast. Too fast. I tried to fight, flailed, kicked, but I tripped backward. Thought it was over. That's when he stepped in. A man, late 30s maybe, utility uniform, steel-toed boots. Not dramatic, not loud. Just calm. Focused. He smashed the attacker's head with a crowbar in one motion, then offered me a hand. You good? He asked. I nodded, breathless. I think so. Stay close. Name's Kenji. We moved together after that. He knew the city like a maze, cutting through alleys, avoiding choke points, keeping quiet. We passed 2 convenience stores that had already been looted. One had blood smeared on the freezer door. I asked if we should keep going. He said we stop when it's safe, not when we're tired. We ducked into a dentist's office. It was dark but intact. He handed me gauze, made me tape up a cut on my arm, and reinforced the doors with a reception chair. Later, we found an old police station with the front gate open and no one inside. We climbed up to the roof, trying to get a better sense of where to head next. You could see the fires now, not just 1 or 2. Whole stretches of city glowing orange. Helicopters buzzed low, then vanished. I asked if the government would send help. Kenji just said, "They'll protect the people they care about. That's not us." We spent the night in a drugstore backroom with the lights off. I dreamed of my apartment, of checking the mailbox like nothing had happened. In the morning, I woke to Kenji already packed. Time to move. We kept south, toward Tsujanami. On the way, we saw signs of resistance, barricades made from flipped bikes, chalk markings on walls saying safe or trapped. One building had a white bedsheet hanging from the top floor with help written in red. Kenji wanted to check it out. I followed. Inside, we found 3 people, an elderly man with a broken leg, a middle-aged woman who said she was a teacher, and a kid about 10. The kid wouldn't talk. The man's leg was badly swollen. We can't stay here, Kenji said. The teacher asked. Then what do we do? He hesitated. We carry him. And we did. For 6 blocks, we carried that man, alternating every few minutes. We had to stop once to hide inside a car while a group of infected passed. The teacher kept whispering prayers. The kid finally spoke. He asked if we thought his mom was okay. Kenji told him the truth. I don't know. But if she's out there, she's probably looking for you. Eventually we made it to an apartment complex still being guarded by a group of locals. They had blocked off the entrance, and were checking people before letting them in. When they saw the old man, they opened the gate. Kenji and I didn't stay long. He said we needed to keep moving. He was bitten a day later. We were ambushed crossing a narrow bridge. I slipped. He pulled me up. One of them got him on the arm before he could shake it off. He didn't scream. Didn't even flinch. He knew. You have to go, he told me. There's no waiting this one out. I stayed with him until nightfall. We talked. Not about the outbreak. About stupid things, movies, food, where we grew up. He told me he used to hate his job but now missed the routine. I told him I regretted not calling my parents back more often. When it got dark, he gave me his flashlight, his backpack, and the crowbar. Go, he said. I did. And now I sit in a bookstore basement with the doors chained shut, the windows blocked with shelves. I have food for 3 days. Water for maybe 4. A radio I found plays static and the occasional emergency broadcast. I don't know what's coming. But I know what I survived. And I know who helped me make it. Kenji. A stranger who didn't owe me anything. Who saved me anyway. I stayed in that basement for nearly 3 days. I rationed water, picked apart a pack of stale crackers over hours, and waited. Waited for help. Waited for nothing. But the quiet never lasted. On the 3rd night, I heard a different kind of sound, not infected, not looters, coordinated movement. Boots. Voices. I risked peeking out. A group, 5, maybe 6 people, equipped, moving with purpose. Not military. Civilians with makeshift gear. One had a walkie-talkie. Another carried a crowbar like mine. I banged on the window. Carefully. Just enough to get their attention without drawing more. They spotted me. Guns raised. Then lowered when they saw my face. One of them, A woman in a puffy jacket and utility belt pointed toward the side door. I unchained it and stepped out into the cold night air. She asked, "Alone?" I nodded. "We're moving south. You'll slow us down?" "No." "Then keep up." Her name was Reina. She had been a schoolteacher. The others included Daichi, a former chef, Mari and Taka, college students, and a quiet guy in his 50s everyone just called Aji. We moved in a loose group, covering each other, staying low. They had been scavenging from abandoned homes and shops in the outskirts, and were trying to reach a rumored checkpoint near Mitaka, where supposedly buses were evacuating survivors. Rumors. That's all anyone had now. We passed through streets littered with empty shoes, flipped bikes, shattered glass. One 7-Eleven had a barricade of snack shelves and a blood trail leading out the back. We didn't check. Sometimes we passed other survivors, sometimes alone, sometimes in groups. Most avoided us. Some begged. One man followed us for half a block before disappearing into an alley. Mari cried after that. Reina told her to harden up. We reached a small temple on the third night. It was fortified. A real camp, fires, watchposts, people watching every direction. They had food, water, and 2 working radios. They took us in. It was the first time I'd seen more than 5 people together since it all started. Kids laughing quietly in a corner. Adults sewing cloth into masks and slings. Some had injuries, bandaged arms, splintered legs. We stayed for 2 nights. Then everything collapsed. Someone must have gotten bit and hidden it. Or maybe the infected just broke through. But the scream came at dawn. One turned inside the temple itself. Chaos. We tried to fight, but the infection spread too fast. We lost Mari, then Aji. Reina dragged 2 kids out herself, bleeding from a bite she pretended wasn't there. By sunrise, the temple was fire and blood. Only 5 of us got away, Reina, me, Daichi, a young mother named Aiko, and her 6-year-old daughter. Reina's arm was wrapped, but we knew. She didn't say anything until we stopped hours later in an empty post office. Her breathing was shallow. She handed me her knife. "Keep them safe," she said. "You're the one left." Then she walked outside. We never saw her again. Now it's just us. 4 people. Hiding again. Moving again. Always moving. There are fewer people on the streets now. More infected. More bodies. But there are still flickers of hope, a light in a window, voices on the radio. We're heading toward them. This isn't over.